Imagine, if you will, that someone just hands you a guidebook for life.
Okay, sure.
But, this isn't your standard run-of-the-mill self-help manual, like the kind that promises to optimize your morning routine or whatever.
Right, the 5 habits of highly successful people, that kind of thing.
Exactly. This guidebook starts by establishing just the most epic cosmic stakes imaginable. I mean, we are talking eternal souls, divine creators, multiple dimensions of existence.
It goes big right out of the gate.
It really does. And then just when you're bracing yourself to be sent on some grand, universe-saving quest, the ultimate instruction it gives you is, well, it's to just go be completely, totally ordinary.
Yeah, it's a massive pivot.
That is the jarring bait and switch in the
Mm.
heart of our deep dive today. We're looking at a text called 8 Truths by Which to Lead a Life. It was written by Xu Feng and edited by Cater. And it actually claims to be a direct message from the greatest creator, offering explicit rules for navigating this mortal world. So the stakes are quite literally out of this world for you, the reader.
They absolutely are. And before we start unpacking the mechanics of this framework, let's just lay down a really crucial ground rule for our exploration today.
Good idea.
We are approaching this document purely as an intriguing and honestly often highly provocative philosophical architecture. We aren't here to endorse the spiritual or the cosmic or, religious claims made by the author.
Right. We're not telling you this is the absolute truth of the universe.
Exactly. Our goal is to impartially explore these ideas exactly as they are presented on the page, just to see what unique perspectives they might offer you about how you manage your daily life. We're essentially looking at the blueprints of the ideas, not verifying the building permits.
I like that. We're here for the perspective shift.
Right.
And to get that shift, before this text tells you how to behave, it has to completely redefine where you are and, well, what exactly is happening around you.
Yes, you have to understand the map it draws of reality first.
Right. So Xu Feng introduces this concept of origin. He states that rivers have sources and trees have roots. Basically, everything comes from somewhere, and human souls must connect back to their source, which the text identifies as the greatest creator.
And this immediately requires us to redefine a core piece of terminology that the text uses.
The all caps thing.
Yes, the text frequently uses the word life, but it capitalizes all 4 letters, L-I-F-E. And this isn't just a stylistic quirk. It is making a very specific, very important distinction between biological life, which is, temporary in capital L life.
Which is the eternal part.
Exactly. It's the eternal, continuous essence of an entity. So under this framework, birth and death are not actually the beginning and end of your existence.
Which is how we usually think about it.
Right. But the text refers to them merely as life phenomena.
Which implies a change of state, doesn't it? Like water freezing into ice and then melting back into water. The H2O is always there. It just, looks different.
That's a perfect way to put it. The essence remains completely intact, but the form changes. And that brings us to the function of our current reality. Because the mortal world is not framed as our permanent home here.
No, not at all.
It is strictly a transition stage. And what is really fascinating here is the sheer, overwhelming scale of this transition. The mortal world is framed as this cosmic crossroad for all levels and types of capital L life.
Yeah, the text provides this incredibly vivid detail that I just found wild. It claims that our world is populated not just by humans, but by gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints.
And it doesn't stop there?
No. Alongside them, you've got goblins, devils, ghosts, monsters, and demons, all just sort of hanging out here.
It's a crowded space.
I have to say, reading that section, I just couldn't stop picturing the mortal world as a totally chaotic international airport terminal.
Oh, an airport terminal. That makes sense.
Think about it. You're just a tired passenger trying to find your departure gate, but you are sharing this terminal with absolutely everyone. You've got, divine beings quietly sipping espresso in the first-class lounge, and then you've got literal demons cutting in line at the food court.
That is quite the image.
But we are all just stuck in this incredibly volatile layover. And the text specifically warns that because of this chaotic mix, anyone's life trip can be misdirected by the absolute slightest miscalculation.
Right, because of all the noise.
Exactly. It is so easy to get distracted by the noise of the terminal and completely miss your spiritual flight.
That analogy perfectly captures the anxiety of the text's premise. Because, what actually happens in an airport terminal?
You panic. You eat overpriced pretzels.
You're stressed. You're constantly checking your bags. You're hyper-focused on all these trivial annoyances. But Think about your commute this morning or, the frustration of a delayed email at work.
Right, the stuff that ruins our day.
How much of that stress just evaporates if you genuinely view your current circumstances, your job, your mortgage, your social standing, strictly as a brief layover in a cosmic transit hub?
Oh, wow. Yeah, if you look at it that way.
It inherently lowers the stakes of the material world, right?
Right. It-
While massively raising the stakes of your spiritual direction, you basically stop caring about the quality of the airport seating and start caring exclusively about whether you're actually at the right gate.
Okay, but if we're just passengers in this terminal, that begs a pretty massive question.
How do we pay for the ticket?
Yes, how do we afford our ticket out of here? Or, to stick with the stakes, how do we make sure we don't end up on a standby flight to somewhere truly awful?
Hmm.
Because Yufeng argues that the way we afford our progression is through this terrifyingly rigid system of cosmic accounting.
Yes, this is where the text introduces the absolute unyielding mechanics of cosmic balance. It brings in the concept of Tao.
And this isn't just a metaphor here.
Not at all. In this specific framework, Tao isn't just a mystical path or some vague philosophy. It operates as an infallible cosmic ledger. It's basically the fundamental law of energetic conservation.
So, like physics?
Exactly like physics, the text asserts that the amount of positive and negative energy in the universe is always entirely equal. There are absolutely no loopholes. What you pay into the system and what you gain from the system must be identical.
Okay, so if I put a massive amount of effort, kindness, and hard work into the world, but I seem to get, very little in return during this specific biological lifetime.
The text says that extra payout isn't lost.
Oh, good.
It is safely held for you in what it calls the bank of heaven.
Okay, but wait, hold on. Let's look at the inverse of that, because that's where it gets scary. What if I win the mortal lottery?
Hmm?
What if I negotiate a massive salary, build a huge company, and extract way more wealth and comfort from the world than the actual labor I put in?
Then you have created a localized deficit in the cosmic ecosystem, and you owe a massive debt.
A massive debt.
Yes. We can think about this almost like the laws of thermodynamics, right? Energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred. Therefore, your outsized material success, your wealth, is just a localized extraction of energy.
So I'm just hoarding it.
You have pulled surplus energy toward yourself, which naturally leaves a vacuum somewhere else in the universe. And the universe absolutely abhors a vacuum. It will force a rebalancing.
And the mechanism for that rebalancing is incredibly visceral in this text. It doesn't just say, you'll have bad luck.
Far from it.
It explicitly states that if you take more than you give, you might have to become a cow or a horse in your next manifestation. Or, even more brutally, you could become a chicken or a pig that is actually slaughtered and eaten.
Yes, or fall into the lowest space of life to face immense hardship.
It's the universe physically forcing you into a state of pure extraction, like literally being eaten to repay the energy you hoarded. It's terrifying.
It really is. It forces you into a state of involuntary giving to zero out that ledger, and this reveals a pretty radical rejection of human accumulation.
Yeah, no kidding.
The text uses this wonderful, ominous phrase to describe the mechanism. It says, divine punishments, though slow, are always true with big meshes, letting nothing slip through.
Big meshes.
Right. It describes a system of delayed but inevitable equalization. You simply cannot outsmart the accounting department of reality.
Which completely flips modern advice on its head. I mean, every day you open social media and the dominant message is, know your worth, maximize your gains, get the best return on investment.
Always maximize the ROI.
Right. We are culturally obsessed with getting more out of a situation than we put into it. But under Wang's framework, it's like we are proudly bragging about how much debt we're taking on.
We're basically cheering for our own spiritual bankruptcy.
Yes. Hustling your way to the top of the corporate ladder and hoarding resources isn't winning. It's practically volunteering to be livestock in your next life.
It definitely forces a profound reevaluation of how we interact with our environment. The only logical way to survive a system with this kind of inescapable physics is to live an honorable, completely transparent life.
No cutting corners.
You must maintain a clear conscience. The text specifically notes you can never be stealthy. If you are taking more from your community, your workplace, or your relationships than you are actively generating, the universe is keeping the receipts.
Okay, so if I'm terrified of taking too much, which honestly now I kind of am, and I want to keep my cosmic bank account safely in the green, The logical leap is that I should become a total martyr, right?
You would think so.
I should just bleed myself dry. I should sacrifice all my dreams for my children, give away everything I own, and just suffer so that I'm always outputting more energy than I take in.
It seems like the obvious conclusion, but here the text takes a really sharp, fascinating pivot. It argues the exact opposite.
Wait, really?
Really. It introduces the concept that we must learn from nature, and nature dictates that each capital L life needs to live to its absolute fullest to make the world colorful and complete. Therefore, the text explicitly commands that everyone must live out their own innate nature by prioritizing their own well-being first.
Okay, I am really struggling to square this circle.
It sounds contradictory, I know.
Yeah, a minute ago we established that taking a surplus bankrupts your soul and turns you into a chicken. Now, the text is demanding we prioritize our own well-being and live to our fullest. How can I possibly live to my fullest without extracting things from the world around me?
So it's a crucial distinction between extracting resources and actualizing your frequency.
Okay, unpack that for me.
Living to your fullest in this context doesn't mean hoarding wealth or attention. It means authentically expressing your unique, innate nature without apology. It's about resonance, not accumulation.
Ah, resonance.
Yes. The text argues that it is only when people live well, in true alignment with their nature, that they can actually be of any genuine benefit to the people around them.
Which leads right into its attack on the martyr parent trope. And man, this is deeply ingrained in almost every culture on Earth, isn't it?
Oh, universally.
The idea of the endlessly sacrificing mother or the father who works himself to the bone at a job he hates just for his kids. The text quotes a hypothetical parent saying, "My child, I have suffered through a bitter life all for my child."
And Xu Feng's psychological deconstruction of that statement is just devastating. He argues that this attitude is rarely true altruism. It is almost always an excuse for a bad life.
Ouch.
The parent fails to actualize their own nature, they choose to remain miserable, and then they use their quote-unquote sacrifice to transfer their pain to their children.
So they're weaponizing their own misery.
Precisely. They hand the child a massive emotional bill for that deprivation in the form of a guilty conscience.
It's like a drowning person deciding to act as a lifeguard.
Yeah.
You aren't actually saving anyone. You're just violently pulling them down into the water with you, all while making them feel completely guilty for the fact that you're both sinking.
That is a much more accurate visualization of the mechanics at play here. When you live strictly for others at the expense of your own actualization, you aren't generating positive cosmic energy, you are generating resentment.
And the universe tracks that, too.
Exactly. And the text warns that anyone who does this will not only spoil their own life, but will inflict heavy psychological burdens and what it calls spiritual bondage on the people they claim to be helping.
Spiritual bondage. That is such a heavy, evocative phrase.
Yeah.
It implies that guilt is an actual toxic energy transfer.
It's a very real force in this framework.
And it specifically calls out married couples doing this to each other, too. Think about it. Two people, both secretly believing they sacrificed their true dreams to keep the marriage together, both feeling like they're owed something.
Right.
It basically creates a mutual hostage situation
Yeah.
rather than an actual partnership.
It fundamentally questions the nature of altruism itself. Can you actually be altruistic if you are fundamentally miserable? The text suggests no. If you are carrying deep resentment, any gift or sacrifice you make is laced with a demand for repayment.
Oh, so it's not really giving at all.
Exactly. You are just tangling your loved ones up in your own spiritual knots. If you want to help your family, the most vital thing you can do is ensure you are a healthy, fully actualized individual who operates from a place of joy, not a place of martyrdom.
Okay, I love that. But this brings up another massive contradiction I need you to explain.
Bring it on.
If I am supposed to actualize my innate nature and prioritize my well-being to avoid pulling people down, what does that practically look like? Because society tells us that actualizing our potential means becoming a visionary CEO, a famous artist, or a political leader. But the text explicitly forbids all of that later on, right?
It absolutely does. And this is where the philosophy completely dismantles the human ego.
Because it just lists off everything we strive for.
When the text lists what we should not live for, it is incredibly comprehensive. It explicitly states you must not live for power, wealth, fame, beauty, vanity, religion, political party, state, nationality, or even family. You must not try to possess or control anything.
So wait, I have to live to my absolute fullest innate nature, but I can't pursue wealth, fame, influence, or even dedicate myself entirely to my family or my country.
No.
What is left?
What is left is the pure experience of the present moment, completely stripped of any desire for permanence. The text uses a deeply poetic reminder of impermanence to justify this. It says, people will die and fields will become lakes.
Fields will become lakes.
Wow. It is a profound recognition of geological and cosmic time. Whatever you are so serious and persistent about right now, your career trajectory, your political arguments, your social status, it will eventually vanish. The geography of the Earth itself will change.
Right, none of it lasts.
The text asserts that everything physical is just a game. Only the soul is true. Therefore, the ultimate instruction it delivers is to just do ordinary, simple things. Be content to be ordinary and do not pursue the extraordinary.
Be content to be ordinary. I mean, in a guidebook about eternal souls and demons, that is the most jarring sentence of all. It actually advises settling for small things. It notes that 1,000 miles can be covered by constant small steps, and it urges readers to enjoy an unknowingly quiet life, explicitly avoiding being the target of the known and the noisy.
It is a total rejection of the spotlight.
It really is. It feels exactly like discovering you are a character in the most incredibly complex, high-stakes, epic fantasy video game ever created. You know,
I can see where you're going with this.
you've got gods battling demons, you've got a terrifying karma system that might turn you into livestock, the fate of your eternal soul is literally on a line, and then you open the ultimate strategy guide and you find out that the unbeatable winning move...
Is not to fight.
Exactly. It's to play as an NPC.
Yeah.
A non-playable character. You don't pick up the sword, you don't try to defeat the boss, you just become a background cabbage farmer who tends to a quiet patch of dirt, enjoys the sunshine, and completely ignores the main quest.
That is precisely the dynamic. You are acknowledging the grand cosmic scale of the universe,
Yeah.
but you are recognizing that your proper role within it is not to conquer it, manage it, or extract from it. Your role is simply to quietly harmonize with it.
Which is so hard.
Extremely hard. Think about how incredibly difficult that is for anyone listening right now. We live in an ecosystem utterly obsessed with being perceived. We want to go viral. We want to build a personal brand. We are totally entrenched in the relentless grind of hustle culture.
Oh, completely. If you're not hustling, you're failing.
So to actively choose an unknowingly quiet life, to deliberately step out of the spotlight, refuse to accumulate a surplus, and find profound joy in the mundane, it might be the most rebellious, difficult thing a modern human being can attempt.
It is a rebellion through aggressive mediocrity. I love it. So
Yeah.
let's pull all of this together for everyone. We started by mapping a reality where our biological lives are just temporary phenomena originating from the greatest creator.
Right.
We walked into a volatile, chaotic transit terminal filled with entities passing through. We unpacked the terrifying, unforgiving physics of the cosmic ledger, where extracting a material surplus actually means bankrupting your soul.
And becoming a chicken.
Yeah, becoming a chicken. We dismantled the toxic guilt of the martyr parent, replacing it with the absolute necessity of actualizing your own frequency to avoid trapping others in spiritual bondage. And finally, we arrived at the profound paradoxical mandate to dismantle the ego and simply be an ordinary, quiet NPC in the game of life.
It is a sweeping, deeply integrated architecture of reality. But as promised, we must highlight the author's own caveat, which is placed at the very end of the text.
Oh, right, the disclaimer.
Yes. Zhu Feng writes that these 8 truths are strictly his perceptions. He explicitly acknowledges they are only fit for a small minority, and that the vast majority of people will be fundamentally unable to accept them.
Which is pretty self-aware.
Very. He says, if they make sense, use them. If they don't, you are completely free to find your own way. He writes, we do not discuss, debate, or argue.
Wow.
It is a remarkably detached, non-evangelical way to present what claims to be a universal truth. It is the ultimate. Take it or leave it.
I deeply respect that.
Yeah.
Just drop the cosmic mic and walk away, no arguments allowed.
Uh-huh.
But before we wrap up, there is one final thread from this text I want to pull on.
Sure, what is it?
It goes back to that haunting phrase, fields will become lakes, and the whole idea that everything physical is just a temporary game. Modern society practically demands that you build a legacy.
It's the ultimate goal for so many people.
Right. We are told constantly to leave our mark, to build institutions, to write books, to amass fortunes that will ensure we are remembered long after we die. But if the physical world constantly resets itself, if fields inevitably become lakes, if monuments inevitably crumble, and the only enduring true thing is the soul, Is our desperate pursuit of leaving a legacy actually a massive trap?
That is a fascinating question.
Think about the sheer amount of energy we expend trying to secure our memory in the minds of others. Is the desire to be remembered, to be extraordinary, ironically, the exact thing preventing us from living a joyful, free, and fully present life right now?
It really makes you wonder what we're sacrificing for a future we won't even be part of.
Exactly. I invite you to mull that over as you go about the rest of your day. And who knows, maybe the next time you're stuck in traffic on your commute or just, standing at the sink doing the dishes, you feel a little more content with the beautifully ordinary moments of your incredibly complex cosmic layover.